Hello and welcome to another anime lore and theory video. I'm Shergok, your host, and today we are going to take a closer look at what happens to those who are foolish enough to invade the great tomb of Nazarick. But before we're going to take a closer look at any of this, let me quickly thank my Patreons for supporting this channel, and say my thanks to all users of the YouTube thanks function for making one-time donations. And with that said, let's take a look at the topic at hand. As a player-killer guild, Einzelgone was hated and feared by other players and guilds of Yggdrasil Online, which is why there were more than just one raid against Nazarick. And of course, the question arises, what actually happens to the raiders themselves? What experienced those who messed with Nazarick? And what defensive strategy does Nazarick have to deal with raid groups of various sizes? Let's start from the very beginning, because the first line of defense consists of skeletons and zombies who are going to face the raiders. And these undead are part of the so-called pop monsters. And they are named as such because they simply pop back right into existence even after being defeated. After some cooldown period, of course. And then they are just available for the defense of Nazarick's Great Tomb after some time. This popping up, unlike the resurrection of a floor guardian like Sheltier, also doesn't cost any gold, as the costs are included in the maintenance expenses of the Great Tomb itself. And these weak monsters, which are not above level 30, still serve an important purpose. They are not meant to win, they are there to make basic combat strategies and approaches of the opponent visible and deductible by the members of Nazarick, the 41 players. Sure, nobody will fire off their ultimate spell at the first opportunity just to kill a few undead, but most players will reveal who the healer of the group is, and what elements, weapons and basic abilities they have, how they fight, which members of the group are positioned where, and from that you can also recognize who is leading the group, and whether they can coordinate well or simply laugh as they run straight and unprepared into the barbed wire meat grinder that Nazarick is for any invaders. And the raid we see here was somewhat unusual, because the players who once attacked Eins apparently had no idea which dungeon or which guild they stumbled upon. Otherwise, the group composition would be different, and normally Sheltier Einzelgone would take care of any individual scouts. But with this group of 6, Sheltier alone probably wasn't strong enough to win against all of these opponents. But the 6-player group wasn't strong enough themselves to advance far into Nazarick either, so the 9 original members of Einzelgone's predecessor organization, which was called Nine's Own Goal, intercepted and defeated this raid group personally. A 6 vs 9 battle on the home turf of Nazarick is also as one-sided as it gets with these numbers. It is also not uncommon for the 41 players of Nazarick to confront raiders in battle, but more on that later. Furthermore, Nazarick also benefits in a certain way from these raids, as each player randomly drops an item they are carrying. In other words, 6 items could be looted after the defeat of the raid group. Powerful raid groups, consisting of several dozen veterans, and possibly even some NPCs and summons, were not only capable of defeating Sheltier, but also of penetrating into the depths of Nazarick itself. There they encounter various traps, additional enemies, and highly misleading passages, and the entire architecture of the first, second and third floor was designed to confuse the attackers and divide them into as many separate groups as possible, because there are dozens of ways leading deeper into Nazarick, but only one is the correct one, leading all the way down. There are also teleportation traps as well. In other words, people who were just on the second or third floor could be teleported straight to the amphitheater on the 6th floor, where the 41 players of Nazarick, not all of them, some of them at any given time, would then personally take care of them, now that they are alone and weakened. And anyone who has opened this damn chest in the Lake of Agil in the starting area of Elden Ring, only to find themselves in Caelid, or rather in a tunnel, filled with insects worshipping a rot god in Caelid, will know how nasty that can be. Of course, splitting up the enemy forces also has another pleasant and very beneficial effect for Nazarick, as it allows them to easily collect the items dropped by these raiders after their defeat, without the other enemies attempting to reclaim them simply because they are not around. However, larger raid groups would necessitate the golems sitting in the ranks of the arena and acting as spectators to intervene and help eliminate these remaining enemies. But raid groups with hundreds or even over 1,000 members might even make it all the way to the 8th floor, where the main force of Nazarick awaits. And the shock of realizing that the actual battle has only just begun, combined with the fact that they will receive a very nasty debuff from Victim, will quickly disorient and dishearten them, while the main force of Nazarick gets the advantage, because now that they are perhaps paralyzed, perhaps unable to counter, perhaps unable to magic, perhaps unable to move, they are easy prey for the many dangers lurking on Nazarick's 8th floor. And in the web novel, Ainz Ulgon also managed to eliminate half of the remaining raider forces, thanks to his red orb alone. However, if, and I stress this again, if an enemy group ever manages to break through the 8th floor and reach the 9th floor, it's practically game over for Nazarick, because a force that survived the 8th floor can usually handle the 9th floor as well. What remains are the Pleiades, who will try to stall for as much time as possible, so that Ainz, Ulbert, and the rest of the 41 players can gather for a final battle in the throne room, and gloriously perish as end bosses, together with their guild base. But in addition to all of this, in the new world, all the torture chambers and the other horrors of the Grey Tomb are no longer just virtual. While being teleported into a virtual chamber full of cockroaches may still be disgusting, even in a virtual game world like Yggdrasil Online, where you can feel the cockroaches crawling on your skin. But when it all becomes real, once Nazarick had been brought into the new world and materialized, these captives can expect a fate worse than death after their capture, because death is considered a mercy in Nazarick, as it ends one's own suffering. And again, in the game Yggdrasil Online, none of this happened. Not least because the defeated enemies would simply respawn in their own guild base or another chosen location, albeit without that one item that they dropped upon their defeat. Based on this consideration, further deaths among the captured members of the Sunlight Scripture were also prevented while Nazarick was still in the new world. Even though Nazarick has arrived in the new world, as otherwise, they could at least potentially report back to their home base about where Nazarick is, who their tormentors are, and so on and so forth. However, this respawn mechanic does not exist in the new world, and if Nazarick comes for you, that might be for the better. And with that said, now it's your turn. What are your thoughts about the Grey Tomb of Nazarick and my video? Let me know it down in the comment section. And while you type, I say thank you very much for watching and have a nice day. Other daddy other, ASK, Bad Guy Ye, Bad Burrito 316, Beezer, Ben C, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Dragonlord Placido Saxophone, Duckwagon, Dunkler Krieger, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Feral Shivan, Guy with That Head, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kyle R, Lee K. Long, Legendarius, Lelouch Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Love Razor, Merovec, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Nope, Oh Hell No, Normal Toad, Oh Kill, Overlord General Gasper, Paddy Pantom, Personage, Primus 11, Rhinomere, Kyone Karakos P, Shergox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Sir Axolotl, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Supreme Cheese, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rock Ed Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, Xenokai, and Zonagon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.